Best way I can describe this movie, it's bland with a Mexican twist. Also, I just have to say, the Blue Beetle title, they totally stole that font from Purple Rain. Yes, they did. DT2 Comics Chat here with a review of Blue Beetle the movie. Yeah, I can't believe I went to see it either, but I did, and I'm here to tell you all about the film. Best way I can describe this movie, it's bland with a Mexican twist. That's on point. If you ever see the film, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Just wanted to point that out. Now, the title character played by Zolo Maridueña is Jaime Reyes, or Blue Beetle from the comics. This is a strong family film, but it takes away from Jaime as a character. They keep hammering home the point that the Scarab chose him, but they never really explicitly state why. And in movie world, it's all about show, not tell. You can't keep saying this character is the chosen one, but don't spend enough time showing why. And then the movie has the nerve to call it his destiny, okay? But again, why? So now I don't know enough about Mexican families to know if it was highlighting them or maybe stereotyping them or in some ways making fun of them or maybe a little bit of all three, which means it falls under the we can make fun of ourselves, but if you do it, it's racist kind of thing. So I couldn't really relate culturally, honestly. But what I did understand is that this movie is Pocahontas with powers. The evil corporation led by the evil white man, but in this case, it's a white woman, played by Susan Sarandon. And let me tell you, Susan Sarandon, as Ted Kord's sister Gloria, is wasted in this role. She's completely wasted because there's no subtlety, there's no nuance, there's no dimension to the character, okay? And she's way better than this character that she's playing. And as always, they're trying to take some land from the natives or in this case, they're trying to develop super soldiers. And in here, it's the OMAC project, okay? That's kind of like DC's version, although OMAC is different from the comics. It's a totally different thing. And it's really more like a world destroyer and Batman has something to do with it. And it's a completely different story. But here, it's basically RoboCop with a cyborg interface that they can turn on and off to turn the suit on and make it come on and off. That's all it is in this film. So it's sold just like the RoboCop program was, in that we want to be a more effective protector of the community. But it's really, once we perfect the technology, we're going to take over the world kind of thing. Okay, did you ever see Jessica Alba's film Honey? This is that movie, except with superheroes. I kid you not. In terms of the characters, we have Carapax as the first victim of OMAC tech. He's like the winter soldier of the film. You know, he was taken over, but once he regains his memories, his heart changes. Jamie's father, his annoying little sister, call him Jamie, and his Nana play a big part, as well as his crazy Uncle Rudy, played by George Lopez. But they have the inadvertent effect of proving that Jaime is superfluous in his own film. It's more like the Scarab chose the family, not him in particular, because the entire point of this film is that the strength of the family is what makes the difference. But that means it could have been any strong family. This particular family, the Reyes family, has all the skills, the knowledge, and the sheer gonads to survive, rescue Jaime, and beat the evil white woman. How convenient! Uncle Rudy Lopez knows enough to hack Ted Kord's computer system and fly his flying Beetle, and he gets it all right the first time. The real star of this film is the Scarab. The powers that the Blue Beetle suit has are incredible, and it uses this blue holographic alien energy to make its construct. And it looks much better than it did with Hal Jordan in Green Lantern in 2011, okay? Unfortunately, that's what we see the least in this movie. When it does show up, it's awesome. But Zolo himself said he didn't want to master everything right away. He didn't want to save the day by himself, but it kind of goes backwards. It starts off with the Scarab as this powerful thing that they can't understand or control, and by the end, it's self-doubting, it's insecure, it's cracking jokes, it's out of power, it's nerfed. I couldn't believe it, okay? It really does go backwards. The worst character in the film for me is Milagro, Tommy's little sister. Okay, she's literally everything wrong with kids today. But some people are gonna love her, whatever. You can have her. The most unnecessary character is Ted Kord's daughter, Jenny. Lord have mercy. She's the one that sets Jaime up and gives him the Scarab to take the heat off of herself. But of course, they end up falling in love, and she has, I guess, a redemption arc for her evil aunt's activities. And in terms of Jaime and Jenny's relationship, there's nothing that's not cliche. It really felt like an 80s film. It really did. It felt so retro. And their interactions were so high schooly, I couldn't believe it. There is nothing that is not cliche about that relationship. So this movie steals, borrows from Iron Man, Hulk, and Spider-Man and Iron Spider. They even use a line from Ed Norton's Hulk. You don't deserve this power. But Jaime in action is again the smallest amount of screen time in the entire film. The film spends most of its real estate in terms of running time, letting Uncle Rudy and family crack all the possible jokes and giving them all the possible fun scenes in terms of fun with tech. But I'll let you see it. I don't want to spoil every little thing. Which brings me to Ted Kord. He is in this film, but in absentia. So he's painted by his sister as this crazy, irresponsible dreamer that wasn't grounded, and someone who abandoned his family and his business, and that she built the business. And she was the one that made Kord Industries what it is. But they spend the entire movie ganking Ted Kord's tech. The entire Reyes family, everything they do in the third reel of the film is based on Ted Kord's tech. It's the most amazing thing. So he's a loser, he's unstable, he's all this other different kind of stuff, but you couldn't have won the fight without him. Lord have mercy. So it's another one of those white man bad, white woman bad, and imperialism bad, capitalism bad, and we're gonna stick it to the man. And they beat you over the head with that over and over and over again. There are two post-credit scenes. The first one is the one you're going to care about, and it's revealed, spoiler alert, don't watch past this point if you don't want to be spoiled. It's revealed in that first post-credit scene that Ted Kord is still alive. Okay, he reminds me a lot of Ant-Man actually in that scene. I doubt we ever see him again though, because I doubt this movie gets a sequel, but what Gunn said is that Blue Beetle was a character that exists in a superhero world. So what he's doing there is saying that regardless of where he takes the DC universe from this point forward, that these characters are fair game to bring back, even if they don't get a sequel, okay? Blue Beetle is a rather warm film, but I won't go so far as to say that it's family friendly, because it just depends on whose family you're talking about. But I doubt seriously it gets a sequel. I'll be surprised if it makes its budget, because there's nothing about the film that would require or inspire a repeat viewing. This film also suffers from the time period in which it's released, meaning we don't care about this slate of films because Gunn said he's starting over with Superman Legacy, but he also said, to give himself an out, that Blue Beetle is the first character in the Gunverse and Superman Legacy is the first movie, which makes no sense at all, but whatever. Also, it's not really superhero fatigue. It's bland and predictable superhero movies that people are tired of. You know how Zach Levi is running around saying he doesn't understand why Shazam 2 didn't do any better? Well, that's the reason why. It didn't bring anything new or different to the table. It didn't bring anything we hadn't seen a million times before. And then the final fight, when Blue Beetle is fighting Carapax, and he eventually ends up changing his heart once Carapax gets all his memories back. He's actually the kid in the opening credits of the film, but spoiler alert. But the fight had no stakes. Just like, that's one of the biggest criticisms of Ed Norton's Hulk. The fight between the Hulk and the Abomination at the end has no stakes except them beating up each other. That's exactly what happens here. There aren't really any stakes beyond that. Do you remember when you saw Darth Vader cut Luke's hand off? Do you remember the first time you saw Trinity jump up and do the flying eagle in Bullet Time? Okay? Do you remember the first time you saw Superman fly and rescue Lois? There are no moments like that in this film, and there are no moments like that in any superhero films anymore, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. They're bland, they're generic, they're predictable, they're tropey, they're formula. That's what people are tired of, and this film, I'm sad to say, is no exception. So I would categorize it mainly as a comedy with serious moments, but you're going to forget most of this film about 10 minutes after you see it. So that's it. I'm not saying, don't go see it. I'm not giving it a thumbs down per se. I'm just saying There's nothing stand out about it. It's like going to an ice cream parlor and you just get vanilla every time. What's the point of going somewhere where you got 3,500 different ice cream flavors and you just keep getting vanilla every time? That's what this is, except in a film. It's a family film and a comedy starring George Lopez that's pretending to be a superhero film just to kind of pull you into it. That's it for this review. Leave me some comments below. I want you to like this video. I want you to share it and subscribe to my channel. I definitely want to hear what you have to say about Blue Beetle. Maybe I missed something. Maybe it struck you in a different way. Maybe you got more out of it, okay? Leave some comments below. Let me know. And I'll see you in the next video. And no, I didn't mean to rhyme.